Welcome back once again to Xamarin for Absolute Beginners. That's Jerry O'Brien. I'm Christopher Harrison. Now, we took a look in the last section at how to take our app, put it onto an emulator. And obviously, what the emulator is going to allow you to do is go in and play around with things and test your app. And, you know, there's a good chance that at some point or another, you're going to have a bug in your code that you're going to need to track down. So the question then becomes, well, how do we do debugging? Well, here's actually the good news, is the fact that this module is actually going to be very short. Because, stop me if you've heard this before, it's Visual Studio. It's the exact same tooling that you're already familiar with. And what's amazingly cool about this, or I think it's amazingly cool, is the fact that even if you're using an emulator on Mac OS and you're developing right there on Windows, you can still do your debugging. In fact, Jerry, why don't you show us how that's done?
Yeah, I was going to say you're talking about errors in software code and debug. You've watched me code before, apparently.
Yes,
yeah.
So
that's why.
I've got a webcam in your office.
I'm the reason debugging is available. So
all because of Jerry.
All because of me. So I've been coding since forever, right?
Yeah.
Not really. So let's switch over to the PC. We're going to take a look at our application here again. I am connected to my Mac agent, so you can tell because I have my little green light up here on my Mac icon that says I'm connected. And what we're going to do is, Christopher mentioned, you know, we could show you debugging on the Android emulator, debugging on the Windows Phone emulator, but it's not as impressive because it's on the same machine. What's really neat is debugging on the remote machine, so having the iOS simulator running on the Mac. So for this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open my appdelegate.cs file. And I'm going to come down to right where we load the application. So right where we load that, and I'm going to drop in a breakpoint. And we're going to run it on our iPhone 5S simulator. And we'll start the deploy process. And then as this is going through the process of starting up the application over on the Mac, if we switch over to the Mac screen for just 1 second, we can see, hey, here's the splash screen for my application, and
it's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there looking pretty. So let's switch back over to the PC again for a second, and you'll see that, yeah, indeed, we hit that breakpoint. So
there it is. And I also noticed down below that you've got the normal locals window.
We do, so we can explore this object.
I see what you did there. Clever. Clever.
We can explore the app object, so we have all of our locals. We have everything in here that we can work with, and of course, you know, the Visual Studio IntelliSense is also present here as well. Mm-hmm. So we hover the mouse over it, we've got it available.
That's wonderful.
And we have our debug toolbar. So our step into, step over, step out. We can step through the code if we so choose, or we can say, nah, let's just continue. And then if we just pop back over to the Mac screen for a real quick second, we can see that indeed the application did continue running.
Okay.
So we're not going to write a whole bunch of code with, you know, errors in it, which is what I do on a daily basis. But this is, again, we just want to show that, yes, you can debug on the emulators, but you're on your Visual Studio machine, emulator running on the Mac.
And so once again, all the same skills that you already have, you can now apply them here. So however it is that you would typically debug, you can do the exact same thing.
Yep, precisely.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, then I guess the only last question to be raised is how do we actually take our app, put it onto a device, and stop me if you've heard this before. That'll be in the next module.
Yes.